Yeah, I would say pros are just kind of like an incredible amount of resources. I think that was like one of the big advantages. I think three things that kind of stand out are one is like talent. Like I think I've this is like the second business I've started, and the first time it was like it's like harder to kind of find folks that have really niche strengths. And I feel like when you're in an MBA program, like whatever expertise you need, like it's pretty at your fingertips. There's so many brilliant people around that are willing to help with anything from like research to marketing to finance, right? It's just like super easy to get access to that type of expertise. You also have so much time and flexibility. I feel like if you're in your first year or semester, like maybe it's super busy, but actually just so much more flexibility than like a 9 to 5, right? Like you're really able to prioritize and like put your business first. And so many of us that were in the MBA program and starting businesses, like we're able to sort of like really work full time on the business and sort of like, leverage classes and things like that to advance the business forward. I think the sort of like two cons for me, where sometimes it was hard for certain, I like appreciate Brianna sort of transitioning out and going on hold, because I think like if you're in the program, it is a little bit hard to be taken like fully seriously, that you are really like jumping all into your startup. And some stakeholders, I think, question that. They still sort of see you as a student founder versus as like, somebody that's worthy of like more, yeah, just like resources and attention. And then super challenging sometimes, I think, to balance the like very fun social MBA stuff. Like we had a ton of treks and all these different things that you could be participating in, and obviously like that had to be deprioritized for the business a lot of times. So yeah, I think for sure a balance there.
I actually came to school with the idea, and my intention was I'm going to build it more for fun, kind of take my class learnings and apply it again more for fun, but I'm probably going to go consulting or back to consulting because that's where I came from. And then a couple things happened around like November, December, and Kokata took on its own life. And then it got intense. I think the pros were exactly what I said in the beginning. Like one of the things I loved about bringing an idea to school, and I wasn't even taking the idea very seriously back then, is I really felt like I was learning a lot more in depth than if I was just learning like academically, if that makes sense. Like we have a marketing core class, I'm sure most schools do. And I was taking the marketing core stuff and applying it to Kokata more for fun to see if I could do it. And it didn't take a ton of time or anything. So I really feel like I took a lot away from all of my courses, even the courses that I knew I didn't, I wasn't going to love, like accounting, for example, is not my speed, but I really retained a lot of stuff from accounting because of that. So that was a huge pro, is the deeper learning. I do think the biggest con is definitely just the intensity of it. So like everybody goes to business school for different reasons. Some people go like, because it's kind of like you're learning and it's a 2-year vacation. Other people go and you're like grinding really, really, really hard building your company. So if you're going to build a company in MBA school, you have to know you're going to be grinding really hard, probably harder than you were before. Now you're doing it with total clarity and knowing why you're doing it, and you're probably loving it in some crazy way, as any founder would know. It's like a love-hate thing, but it's really intense, and it is really hard to miss out on a lot of the social stuff, but completely worth it. But that was definitely a test. It feels a lot easier now, like not having that temptation.
I really wanted to use business school as a launching pad to start a business. I say I was an entrepreneur. Like there are some people who just really want to start something, but they don't know what their idea is. And that was me, and other people who just kind of fall into it. And so I'll add that the pros are that you do sort of have the time, like the pause time. Business school goes so fast, so take that with a grain of salt. But my idea was like I felt security being in this full-time degree and feeling like I could work on something. And the idea was that I would feel comfortable committing to it full-time post-graduation. And I did that, but I got there so fast. And it was like really hard to feel like I got to that place, but I did have an incredible network, classmates, and met investors through the process. Raising capital is always hard, and it should be, but the investors ultimately came from the network my business school created. And some of the hardest parts were just feeling like I had two full-time jobs, business school and trying to start a business. And I think business school is a great time to make invaluable connections with classmates who are also very smart and could be in your life for decades to come, professionally and personally. And so it was hard weighing, social engagements versus like spending countless hours on my business. But I agree, it's worth it.